All right, so today is June 25th, 2022, and on June 25th, 2009, Mr. Michael Jackson passed away. I thought I'd do a little bit of a story time today. This one is a little short, a little quirky, but I happened to be hanging out with some cool people, and this was in the 90s, and I'm trying to remember if it was Atlantic City that we were, or if it was Vegas. But I was hanging out with these cats, and these cats were very cool. I was trying to learn how to do live sound in a better way because I could do it, but I wanted to be proficient. I wanted to, really be able to get in there and take the job on if I had to. I'm looking at my audio signal. So what I did was I hooked up with these cats. I'm not going to say any names, but I did hook up with these cats, and we went on a journey together. They were allowing me to hang out and learn, but what I really learned was when you start hanging out with celebrity entertainers, there's not a lot of work going on. There's not a lot of work going on. And the thing that I was trying to learn, I knew that I was going to end up having to hang out with some other people to learn it, because it became a party vibe where more crazy shit happened in a little bit. I think as time goes by, I may talk about that. But for right now, today is about Michael Jackson. I happened to be in the hotel lobby, and I've been looking at Michael Jackson forever. Like, my mother used to sit me right in front of the TV when the Jacksons TV show was on. When Michael had the Rock With You video, I was sat in front of the television for that. And Thriller, everything. Anytime Michael Jackson was on TV, my mother made sure that I was right there. Right there. I happen to know his walk and how, I kind of know his swag a little bit. So I was in the hotel lobby. I think I was standing, it was just like a little water feature thing there. And I looked over, I saw somebody who looked a little sheet white, and he just had that drawl of, that might be Michael Jackson. I'm chill because I'm already hanging out with celebrities. I happen not be with them right now, but I'm chill. I moseyed over there in the best possible way. Okay, I moseyed over there, and I was like, "Hey man, I just want to say thank you so much for the music and the performances and stuff like that. It really, your music." And I mean, as quickly as I was trying to, say something and maybe shake his hand or something, two guys came out of nowhere. They yanked him and pulled him into the elevator. And I'm not getting crazy because I'm hanging out with celebrities. We are supposed to be at this hotel. But I'm kind of pissed. So I'm like, hey man, all I'm doing is trying to, I'm really, I'm getting New Orleans I'm getting a little New Orleans, not a lot, but enough for them to know that, and then I was like, that's all right. That's good, because then I started getting ghetto. I'm like, well, that's good. That's good. I paid for everything that I got from you anyway. So it's good. This is no welfare, It's good, baby. It's good. Y'all go ahead on and do your thing. They close out, the elevator closes, and I go sit by the water feature, and I'm pissed. I'm like, all I wanted to do was just say thank you. And even if he didn't shake my hand, hand me a pound or something like that, and that would have been cool. It'd been another little thing I could say. Like, I've been in Prince's presence 4 times, you know what I'm saying? So, well, at that time it was only 2. I think it was roughly 2. 2 times I've been in his presence. Motherfucker didn't say anything to me, but it was, nothing substantial. It was, mumble shit. But I'm like, a pound, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to say I met you. I'm just going to say I was in the area where you were, and blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm sitting, I'm pissed. And I'm talking to myself because I do that. You know, I've been ready for YouTube my whole life. I don't know why I'm not doing this very much. But I'm sitting there like, this is fucked up. I mean, this dude, all I wanted to do was tell him, you know, all I wanted to do was tell him that, hey man, I've been watching you forever and I have all your records, and those records were like saviors to me because, you know, when you come up as a musician, it's a little weird for us sometimes. If you're not in the church and you're not into hip hop and you walking around school with a guitar in your hand, it's a little weird for you. It's a little weird for you because people don't understand the connection to music. They think samplers and synthesizers, and you got a guitar in your hand. Where you going with that? He has a guitar. So I wanted to, tell him that little stuff. And then, passive conversation, 1 minute. I'm hanging out with celebrities, so I kind of know how much time you actually have to say anything to them before somebody's either whisking them away or they're moving away from you. So I'm like, it's cool. I'm sitting there. I'm by the water feature, and out of no place, I'm thinking this is done. I guess the whole me saying, well, everything I got from you, I bought it anyway, so it's good. It ain't no welfare. Because I hear a voice. It doesn't sound like a regular voice, and it doesn't sound like Michael. It sounds deeper. And that's when I start to realize from people that I hung around that were in that celebrity world that had actually spoke with him, he has a deeper voice than that. And he was like, hey man, that thing about the welfare, that was killer, man. I was laughing my butt off. And I look up. He said some more things. I'm just paraphrasing and taking the one that I thought was funny. And I looked up and he's like, shh, don't act crazy. This is a cool dude. This dude was kind of like a dude, just like a regular dude. Like, I have brothers that we call each other brother. We're just tight like that. He seemed like he could fit with that group of cats that I call brother. He's like, shh, don't act a fool. I'm going over here to this, I think it was a Burger King or something. And he's like, I'm going to meet you over there. I'm going to walk first. My people are going to be around. And you meet me over there, we'll shoot the breeze. And I'm like, oh, all right. I really wasn't trying to shoot the breeze. I don't like to sit down and shoot the breeze, but okay, cool. This is a twofer. He gave me a handshake and he snapped back. I wasn't doing that at the time, but he snapped back and I'm like, oh, all right. So I let a little time go by, and one of the guys that was with him was like, and so I started moseying over. I wasn't rushing or anything because I was thinking to myself, what the fuck are we going to talk about? I really didn't want to talk. I just kind of wanted to do the celebrity thing, love you so much and all right, see you later. Well, that wasn't what we was getting ready to do there. He was already sitting down. I get there. Now, he's kind of disguised. And the first question that he had for me when we actually sat down is, how did you know it was me? And I said, the walk. He walked like the most famous person on earth. So it's the walk. He's like, man. But he didn't look like Mike. He didn't look like, Michael Jackson. He looked like MJ. He didn't have that hat on. He had like a hat sort of like this. It was like a trucker's cap, though. It wasn't like a name brand cap or anything. Nothing that would draw attention. Everything seemed to be to fit in and be as normal as possible. But other telltale signs is the big shirts and the t-shirt under the shirt and that shit like that. But nothing else was telltale. We get in line because he was like, let me show you something. I'm like, okay, cool. We get in line and he ordered, then I ordered just some basic stuff from Burger King. I had just started eating meat again. And I paid for it. And he looked over like, that led to another thing when we got to the table with the little trays and stuff, because he was really able to kind of flow in that situation as comfortable as a person can be. It was as if you're not here with Michael Jackson, but he didn't look like Michael Jackson. He looked like he was from Saudi Arabia or something like that. He was pale as all get out, but he had some other things going prosthetically on his face that didn't make him look like Michael Jackson. But I knew that was Michael. And of course, the little security guys let me know that was Michael. So we sitting down, and he's like, my security guy said, you must be like, real people, because nobody that I've ever chilled out with just, paid for it. They kind of thought automatically that I'll pay for it. Like, no big deal. And I'm not even thinking much of that. But after time goes by, you think about that a little bit. Because after you hang out with enough celebrities, you start to realize how it looks more like a gravy train to be around a celebrity than a nice day. He and I and his people being sparse around may have, I want to say it was 30 minutes, but it felt like it was more time than that. But we were just shooting the breeze. I was talking about what I'm doing. He was like, how are you in this hotel? I'm like, oh, I'm hanging out with such and such. I'm this C guy. I'm trying to learn how to do live sound. So, I come on as the C guy. I'm not making so much, but it's fun to learn the equipment. And he's like, Paige, you're not a C guy. They're getting ready to fire somebody, and you just come in talking the right way. And what happens is they're going to train you to take somebody's job. And I'm young. I don't know. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. He's looking around like, are you stupid? And I'm like, well, I don't want the dude's job. I don't want anybody's job. I just want to learn so I can go do something else. He's like, who's going to spend that kind of money teaching you and let you hang and flying around and stuff and not want you to take the job, the actual job? I'm like, oh, all right. Well, I'm like, well, who's going to be flying somebody around that they're getting ready to fire? It's like celebrities. So we're just shooting the breeze. We're having a good time. We're talking. There's some ladies come by, and I look over at the ladies, but I'm with Michael Jackson. So, I'm trying to not look like, I'm also gawking and ho-hopping. And as I look over at the ladies, I turn my head, like, oh, whatever. And I look over and Mike is looking at the ladies. I'm like, okay. Okay. Mike's a dude. He's like, she's hot, man. I'm like, yeah, but you can't do nothing. You can't make one move. He's like, I can make any move I want. This dude was interesting. It was interesting sitting talking with him. And he was just being normal. He wasn't rushing me away like normal celebrities. He was being normal. He was just hanging out with me and talking to me. We were shooting the shit. I told him who I was there with, and he was like, oh, all right, well, when the conversation was done, I ended up saying, hey man, thank you so much for the music, and the performances are amazing. I think I've missed a lot. I realized how much I'm not as big a fan as I thought I was. I'm more passive. And he's like, you really ain't, he's like, what did he say? What did he say? He said, hold on. Well, anyway, I'll paraphrase. It ultimately meant that, hey man, you're not really trying to make me feel good at all. And I was like, no, I'm just saying, I've met some cats that really have been places that you've been, where you were there, and they've seen you multiple times. And, this is my first time seeing you in any capacity. You know what I mean? I'm like, dang, I'm sitting here with, Michael Jackson. He's like, MJ. I'm like, all right, MJ. I'm sitting here with MJ. I'm chilling. And we just having a regular conversation. And we didn't talk about music so much as he was laughing about what I was saying at the elevator. And he just kept on laughing. I guess that tickled his spirit. And I'm like, I'm from New Orleans. He's like, I have family in the South. I'm like, yeah, all right, cool, man. He's like, really, I do. Well, not like high like that. It's more like, really, I do. I'm trying to, the timbre of his voice was one thing, and then the lowness of it. If I talk like him, then I'm going to do it high. But if I have to relax and think, really, I do. Something like that. He's more like, yeah, Paige. Everybody knows that whenever you hear the C guy thing, that means that either A or B is going away. B is going up to A, or A is tired of B, and he needs C to come in and take over for B. That's what he was. We were talking about that. We were mostly talking about me taking this job, and and he's like, hey man, I wish I was working. I'm in the works on something. I don't know where he was at in his arranging a tour or something like that. I don't remember what year it was. So either he was arranging to be on tour, or he was arranging a new tour, something like that. But he's like, yeah, because I would let you come and hang and work and stuff and learn some stuff. I'm like, well, that's cool, thank you, but I'm with these guys and I want to, I don't want to. And he's like, oh man, you cool spirit. We dapped up again, and then he was like, hey, I want to can I get your pager? And I'm like, yeah, definitely. I gave him my pager. So this is the 90s. I gave him my pager number, and then he was like, hey man, it was nice talking with you. It was really relaxing. He was a nice guy. And I was like, well, thank you so much. And thank you for, sitting here with me. I had no idea that you would come and sit with me. I didn't know what we would talk about. I was really getting ready to just go the other way and be like, I didn't want to talk. I just kind of wanted to say hello, but it was cool. And he's like, you're really not trying to stroke my ego at all. He's like, you're just not that guy. No, I'm so sorry, man. But we dapped up again, and he gave me one of them hugs, like, a bro hug. And they went their way, and I went my way. Later on, I was in the hotel room, and I met up with the cats that I came there with, which pretty big celebrity too. And they're like, so what have you been doing? Because typically everybody roll together. When you roll with celebrities, you kind of roll together because of the security thing. And then the idea is you're rolling with a celebrity and they have enough money to, decide that they don't want to be there. And they can be at the airport. You're off somewhere screwing off and you missed the flight, and if you're not, one of the key components to their situation, they're not sending a flight for you or anything. You're stuck. You need to get home somehow, some way. But I happened to be talking to the guy, and he was like, you met anybody? And everybody's like, yeah, did you meet anybody special? And I'm looking all to the right because I know I gotta lie, like, no, I really didn't meet anybody. I was just kind of walking around. Like, yeah, man, you were ghost out for a little while, a little while. I'm like, oh, well, it's cool. So those guys, they go downstairs and they, getting ready to go to eat. I had already nibbled on something at Burger King, and I wasn't hungry, and I still had that bag of food. And my boy, the guy who was paying for everything, the actual celebrity, he was like, who you met? I'm like, what you mean? He's like, who you met? I'm like, what you mean? He's like, come on, man, tell me who you met. I'm like, I met Michael Jackson. And he's like, you got his number? I'm like, no, I didn't get his number. But actually, I had been paged with the number for him, in my pager. But I didn't get his number. I had gotten, the number had appeared. He's like, yeah, that's cool. I'm glad that you telling me this lie that you don't have his number, because I wouldn't want for you to be giving my number out to people. I'm like, oh, no, I ain't like that. It's not like that. He's like, yeah, you told him about me? I'm like, yeah, I told him that, I was hanging out with you and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, all right, baby, it's cool. And then that was it. Now, later on, when I was in my room, because I didn't go with the fellas, I got a call to my room. And it was call between the call and then I talked to MJ again, and he was like, hey man, you busy? You doing anything? I'm over at the blah 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 hotel, and my people let you come up. I got the whole floor at the top. I got video games up here. I got all kinds of stuff. I'm like, well, no, because I gotta hang with them. Oh yeah, I forgot you're with these guys. I'm like, yeah, but it was cool. He's like, hey, you think that they want to come? I'm like, I'm sure they would want to come, but this is not one of them situations. And it's like, because in my mind I'm sitting there thinking, if this goes any further, I'm going to find out things that I don't want to know. And I typically, when I was hanging out with celebrities, I typically hung out with people that I didn't care if I started finding out crazy shit. It was just crazy shit. Well, this situation, I didn't want to be around Mike. Well, I didn't want to be around MJ and find out, crazy shit. I didn't want to become his friend because I had admired and respect him so much. So it's like I was more or less trying to not get in that circle because I had been in another circle and I found out some stuff and I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. But I turned him down for that with the under the guise of, I'm hanging out with these cats and I don't think they would be cool with that. And he's like, yeah, I get it. I get it. We did talk about Prince because I told him I'd met him I told him I'd been in the area with him, and it was kind of mumble talk, and he had some shade for that. I won't say it, but he had some shade for that. He was shady as fuck. I mean, we was sitting there, and Mike had some shady shit to say about some things, and I was like, this, oh man. And sometimes he passed away, and that was the next time I thought of that and thought of hanging out with him, and of course meeting him and talking to him over the phone a couple times. And then I actually met him again in passing, and he knew he must have had a good memory because he either he was play gaming with me or he knew who I was. Like he looked at me like he knew who I was. He had he had that look on his face like I know who you are, and it was a cut in his personality because when I saw him and he saw me and we dapped, it was not like he actually was a little black with that motion, and right as soon as it happened, it shut down, and I knew because I've been poised already to just appreciate it and move on. And I actually got another page after that too, but I never answered it or anything like that because my whole thing was I like the people that I like so much, I just don't want to really fuck with them on that level. Like I love Stephanie Mills and Mickey Howard and oh god, Anita Baker, and these are people that I don't want to really meet because I don't want to fuck it up. Well, they're older now, so it would be cool to meet Stephanie Mills because she could sing her ass off. I would love her to sing "I Never Knew Love Like This Before" to me because that would just kill me. And Mickey Howard, I would love for her to sing "Baby Be Mine." We can do it over the phone, or we can do it at on a Zoom call or something. But I would love to hear those vocals being sang to me. But anyway, moving on. But I did meet Michael Jackson. I talked to him a couple times, and I met him once where I can say it was a real meeting. It wasn't like where we say we meet people, we shake their hand. Oh yeah, how you doing? I was just standing there from afar. I actually met him, talked with him. And the second time I saw him was that regular kind of meeting, but he kind of looked like he knew me. And even to the people in the situation, it was sort of like when I met Eddie Van Halen. And then he saw me the second time, he acted like he knew me. It's the same way. It was like, oh yeah, you cool people. Well, that was the same thing with Mike, and the thing about, and that was the same thing with MJ. And the thing about it was the cats who were with me, they were like, dang. They were saying Mike. And they're like, Mike, know you? I'm like, yeah. Well, I was not like, yeah. I was like, oh, no. I think I've kind of seen him before. You know, because this is not something you say to people, because it's like I didn't have nothing to take pictures. Even when I was there with him, I didn't have something for him to sign, because as we were closing the conversation up, he was like, you got anything you want me to sign? Or, you know, you got a camera, you want to take a picture? I'm like, I really don't have a camera, because I'm already hanging out with a celebrity, and that's not you know, it's not like now with the phones. It's not a cool thing to have a big ass camera with you, and you know, you're taking pictures of the wrong thing. And I'm like, no, I don't have a camera or anything. And he's like, you got anything you want me to sign? I'm like, nah, I don't really. And, you know, but it was nice being here, meeting you. And I guess that was another thing. Like, dude, you know, whoa, you want me to sign your hand? It was none of that. It was just like, I happened to be in the right place at the right time. And I spent a little time with somebody that I was interested in being around. I think on that conversation that we had over the phone when I was back at the hotel, he's like, hey man, you said you can dance. You don't want to, you know, hang out with dance a little bit or something like that. I'm like, nah, it's cool, because I got to be with these people, and I've already ghosted on them once, and I can't ghost on them again, which ghost wasn't the word, but you know, at that time, I don't think that was the word that I used. I'm just paraphrasing, but I did meet him. And when he passed away, I thought about that. He was a really nice guy. There's a lot of nice guys that I met that are, you know, either passed away now or they're in jail or something. And they were celebrities at the time. That I knew the guys in a way that I knew this was a nice guy. They just were a little bit misdirected. I think Mike was a really nice guy. And I think he was a little bit more involved in the things that happens to musicians. I'm trying to not. I think there was. I think he was a little bit more involved in the business side of the music business, and it made it not safe for him. You know what I'm saying? It made it not very safe for him. I hope that he's having a peaceful journey, and that was my story of meeting Michael Jackson. Y'all have a good one. Thank you.
It's Paige.
It's Paige.
It's Paige. It's Paige. It's Paige. It's Paige. It's Paige.
It's Paige.